Good morning, beloveds. I am going. Okay. I'm watching the news this morning, so today I will start with a prayer request because this is what I know I'm going to treat about today for the people in the FedEx facility. And that is all I'm going to say. Because if you watch the news, you know what's going on. And if you haven't watched the news, you'll know soon enough. So just please treat for those people and their families. And we'll get on with that. I can't not mention it and then do my job. And I can't do my job without mentioning it. So, yeah. But the weather is... It's dark and it's misting and it may storm today. I don't know, but the flowers are blooming and the trees are green and the world, there's still beauty out there. And that's what I'm going to say. There's still beauty out there. So put on some really good music and treat. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to do 365 days of richer living. Right now, I kind of have that idea of how comedians feel when they have to get on and do their job after something like this has happened. It's like, okay, how do I get on here and convince you that this world is, there's still beauty in this world? All right. And the title is going to tell me how. It is April 16th, and our title is, I Steadfastly Increase My Awareness of God in My Present World. And the Bible quote is, I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, from Psalm 23:6. I live in an expanding universe that is potent with divine possibilities. On every hand, the presence of God is beckoning to me, inviting my growth. Truly, I dwell in the house of the Lord today. There is nothing to hold me back, for his mind in me presses me forward into larger living and greater thinking. I steadfastly increase my awareness of God in my present world. Right here and now, I make my demonstration. I joyously accept an expanding, unfolding life of true service to God and to my fellow man. I live in an evolving universe that bids me to grow in the ways of spirit. God is seeking to make me a greater person and a more useful citizen of his good heaven on earth. I seek out larger ideas of truth. I keep the windows of my soul open to the new and fresh ways of knowing truth. I evolve into that image and likeness which is already my inner pattern. I let go of the little to accept the more. I grow in wisdom. I grow in wisdom, in spiritual stature, in favor with God and with man. Where I am, I shall make my demonstration of truth. I no longer wait for the future to solve my problems. Today, I live in omnipresence, and right now, my good is at hand. What I seek is seeking me. The idea I need is now in my consciousness, and the law of mind is producing it. I relax and realize that today is good, tomorrow will be better, and each day is God's day. I live in a loving universe where God's friendliness is on every hand. Divine love enfolds me and flows from me. I love the love of God in everyone I know. I am loved by the love of God in everyone I know. I dwell in love this day. dwell in love this day. I dwell in love this day. I dwell in love this day. So I live in an expanding universe that is potent with divine possibilities. And I think that's the one thing that everybody needs to hear, that there are always possibilities. Because we tend to take extreme action when we think we're out of possibilities, when we're out of ideas, when we're out of whatever. When we feel limited, then we get extreme. And I think that's why science of mind works so hard to teach, that we're always at choice. We're always at choice, because when we realize that we have a choice, even if it's nothing more than the choice of how to feel about a situation, how to respond to a situation, because a reaction really isn't a choice, but a response is a choice. Then it just kind of takes everything down a notch. So, I steadfastly increase my awareness of God in my present world, which is what we teach. Everything is made of God's stuff. Everyone is made of God's stuff. Everyone is a godling. Everyone carries that divine spark within themselves. And when we recognize that, we treat each other better. And when we recognize that, we treat everything around us better. Ideally. So I dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's like, if we look around and see, this is heaven on earth. If we're not waiting for some time in the future to fix everything, if we're not waiting for some time in the future for everything to be right, because that's the problem. We're always waiting for the future, and it's like the future never comes. All we have is the present, right here, right now. What are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to start by living, by going out, by doing, by treating, by recognizing the God in each other, by being kind and compassionate to each other. I'm going to turn into a Southern Baptist preacher here in a minute. I live in an expanding universe that is potent with divine possibilities. It is up to me to recognize those possibilities, to see them, because I know they're there. On every hand, the presence of God is beckoning to me, inviting my growth. Growing isn't always fun. Growing can be painful. But when the pain of being where we are gets to be unbearable, then what we have to do is grow. Truly, I dwell in the house of the Lord today. There is nothing to hold me back, for God's mind in me presses me forward into larger living and greater thinking. It's like, right now it's spring, there are flowers blooming everywhere, and they bloom because they can't stay that bud forever. We can't live small forever. Sometimes we have to live large. Sometimes we get to live small, sometimes we get to live large. And it can be from one day to the next. But there's greater thinking out there. There are divine possibilities out there. There are divine possibilities in here. I steadfastly increase my awareness of God in my present world. How do I do that? Spiritual practice. By reading, by listening, by going out and enjoying nature, by listening to the birds sing, by listening to water flow over rocks, by listening to amazing music. By recognizing the beauty around me including within myself and in my fellow people. Right here and now, I make my demonstration. I joyously accept an expanding, unfolding life of true service to God and my fellow people. True service to God. True service to God. You know what true service to God is? Being yourself. Being your authentic, loving, kind, wonderful self. That's all it is. It's not some great act. You don't have to go out and change the world. All you have to do to be of true service to God is to be your authentic self. That's it. That's it. And I know that that is not a small request, because some of us live small because we've been told to live small. We have been told. And you know what? No. I live in an evolving universe that bids me to grow in the ways of spirit. God is seeking to make me a greater person and a more useful citizen in God's good heaven on earth. How do we be a useful citizen in heaven? By being loving, by being kind, by being compassionate, by recognizing beauty, by creating beauty. And how do we create beauty? By being ourselves. By being ourselves, by recognizing the divine spark within us and being our authentic selves. I seek out larger ideas of truth. I keep the windows of my soul open to the new and fresh ways of knowing the truth. That's why we're open at the top. That's why we're open at the top. It's like we recognize that everybody has a piece of the truth, but nobody has the whole truth. And so we listen and we watch and we practice and we do. And we recognize the truth when we see it, no matter who's saying it. I evolve into that image and likeness, which is already my inner pattern. My inner pattern. That's what I'm talking about. That divine blueprint. That when in our spiritual practice, when we go to that place where nothing has ever been wrong, that divine blueprint of who we are, that Christ consciousness that we come with, it's already in there. Already in there. All we got to do is activate it. And do you know how to do that? The password is love. The password is love. I let go of the little to accept the more, which reminds me of the story of the monkeys, where they would hollow out coconuts and they put treats that the monkeys really wanted in the coconut. So the monkey would put his hand in there and he'd grab the treats, and then he couldn't get his hand out of the coconut, and that's how they would catch monkeys. Because you gotta let go of the little. You gotta let go of the little. It's the little that's trapping us. And what is the little? I don't know. What's keeping you from doing what you really want? That's the little. And sometimes we just gotta let go. Sometimes we're holding on to something that's keeping us trapped. I grow in wisdom, in spiritual stature, in favor with God and with man. That's a power statement. Although that last statement, with man. I grow in wisdom, I grow in spiritual stature, in favor with God and with people. Where I am, I shall make my demonstration of truth. I no longer wait for the future to solve my problems. All I have is right here, right now. Today, I live in omnipresence, and right now, my good is at hand. It's there. I know it. All I got to do is recognize it. What I seek is seeking me. Hafiz. Joy has been running through the streets, looking for you ever since it heard your name. what you seek is seeking you. The idea I need is now in my consciousness, and the law of mind is producing it. Say that to yourself every morning when you wake up. The idea I need is now in my consciousness. I already know the answer. I already know the answer. It may be buried under layers of stuff, but I already know the answer. So I just got to listen to that small, still, quiet voice and let it tell me the answer. And know that the mind of God is already working on it. I relax and realize that today is good. Tomorrow will be better, and each day is God's day. I live in a loving universe where God's friendliness is on every hand. Divine love enfolds me and flows from me. I love the love of God in everyone I know. I am loved by the love of God in everyone I know. I dwell in love this day. All right. We live in a loving universe where God's friendliness is on every hand. Divine love enfolds us and flows from us. We love the love of God in everyone we know. We are loved by the love of God in everyone we know. We dwell in love this day. That's your mission today. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to love. To dwell in love. To love with God's love. Don't love with man's love. Love with God's love. And you know what God's love is? Nothing's left out. No one's left out. Absolutely everyone is loved by God. You will never look in the eyes of someone that God doesn't love. And with that, I'm going to encourage you, as I always do something loving for yourself. Do something kind for yourself. Do something compassionate for yourself. Whatever it looks like today. Today, I went and took pictures of flowers. Just the flowers in my neighborhood. Nothing special. But they were beautiful. And I needed that. I needed that. So what is it that you need today that is kind, loving, and compassionate? Do that. Please do that. Especially today, but every day. Do it every day. Because the more loving, kind, and compassionate we are, the more we have to share. And I want you to remember today, of all days, and every day, you are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased always and forever. There is nothing that can change that. Nothing. Nothing. That is the state of grace that we live in. So open the windows of your soul and allow that breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven now. It is up to us to look around, to recognize it, to see it. Because the more we see, the more there is. The more there is, the more we bring into existence by simply recognizing it. All right? So I'm going to move on into the process of my day. Please take care of yourself today. Drink some water. Get some rest. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. All right? And do what you need to do to make it the best day that you can. Because I'm going to do that. All right, beloveds? Today sounds like a good day for chocolate. All right? Have a wonderful day, beloveds. I'll be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow on Facebook Live. Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. And as always, these are archived on YouTube, The Running Rev Ryan. So if you want to see what I have said anytime in the last year, including I've started a new book, but the old book is archived on there. So please feel free to check them out. All right, beloveds, know that you are loved.